Hey yogis, welcome to today's session. Today's class is designed for all the runners out there. Now obviously if you're not a runner you can still do this class. We will just be focusing on the areas that are prone to get tight when you run or walk a lot. We are going to focus on the glutes, the hips, hip flexors, quads, and a little bit of the calves as well. You won't necessarily need any props. However, if you do know that the hamstrings are very tight and that the floor sometimes moves away from you when you do your practice, then you can keep yoga blocks handy, or as an alternative, just nice solid books. Once you have everything you need, I will meet you back on your mat and we'll get going. We will start our session today in child's pose. So you can bring the big toes to touch, the knees are about mat width distance apart. Sit back down onto the heels, slide the hands out in front of you and allow the forehead to rest down. Melting the heart down, releasing back onto the heels as much as you can. And just taking a moment to settle into the space, get in tune with the breath. And maybe you're doing this after a run as a cool down. And this will just help you to settle in and arrive on your mat. Or if you just jumped onto your mat and this is your first training for the day, then you just allow yourself to settle onto the mat and move into the present moment. This is a good opportunity to set an intention for your practice today. And if you don't have a specific intention, I always like to set the intention of staying present on my mat and in my body, not worrying too much about what the shapes look like, but just to listen into my body and move in a way that feels good. We're going to make our way onto all fours. So just rising up, the knees are underneath the hips and the wrists underneath the shoulders. We'll do a few rounds of cat-cow just to wake up the spine and the core as well. So we take an inhale, arch through the back, send the crown of the head to the ceiling. And then exhale, round through the back, tuck the hips in, chin toward the chest. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. 3 more. Moving with your own breath. Allow it to be intuitive. Just 1 more. And continue to tilt back. From here we'll move onto the stomach. So moving all the way down to the mat. And you can bring the right forearm parallel to the short side of the mat. So we will include a little bit of a back bend here. So the further you bring the arm forward, the less intense the back bend will be. The more you bring that arm in toward the body, the deeper the back bend will be. So it really depends on how your back is feeling today. Wherever you choose to stay, you can kick up through that left leg and see if you can grab hold of the left foot and then draw it in toward the glute. Depending on what you've been doing, this will either feel very intense or relatively easy. If this is enough for you, stay here. If you want to go a little deeper, then you can see if you can swivel the hand around, pressing down onto the toes and bring the heel even closer to the glute. The stretch will still be the same. Don't worry if you can't do a fancy adjustment, just as long as you're feeling the nice stretch in the quad. Nice. And we release. Just take a moment to release the lower back. Stack one hand on top of the other. Release the forehead down. Just tuck the toes under and roll the heels from one side to the other, finding a bit of relief in the lower back. And then we'll move to the opposite side now. So the feet are flat again. This time the left arm is parallel to the short side of the mat. Again, you determine how intense you want that back bend to be. Bend through the right knee this time. Reach back with the right hand. Grab hold of the foot and draw it in. Just as far as you can. And again, your choice of either staying here or maybe swiveling the hand around so that the fingers face in the same direction as the toes. You'll feel it more in the shoulder and the chest as well if you do it this way. And we release. Nice. Bring your hands next to your chest and we'll transition into our first downward facing dog. So tuck the toes under and start to straighten out the legs. Now in a down dog we always see in pictures how legs are straight and heels are flat onto the floor, but maybe, especially if you're a runner, the hammies are a little tight and you can't get all the way down. We want to keep the focus in the spine. So I'll just guide you through the proper alignment. So just bend heavily through the knees and then press the floor away from you so that the ears move in between the arms. Nice straight back. And then once you're here, you can start working on straightening out the legs. If there's a bend in the knees, that's fine. If the heels don't touch the mat, that's fine too. I'm sure you still feel the stretch, and that's all that we want. From here we'll make our way to the front of the mat, start walking the feet forward toward the hands, bend through the knees as much as you need to. If you're hanging in the air, that's fine too. Maybe if you have blocks or books, you can use them here as well. Just go with what works. You're always welcome to bend through the knees. You will still feel the stretch in the hamstrings. We'll just dangle down, allowing the upper body to be really heavy. And maybe just shifting the weight forward toward the toes a little. Maybe swaying from front to back and just feeling into the legs. And then slowly we'll rise up. You can just roll up one vertebra at a time. All the way up to standing. So let's take an inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flatten the back. If the hands are not on the floor, just allow the hands to slide up the shins so that you have a nice flat back. And then exhale, fold forward again. We'll rise up, inhale, reach arms up. And exhale, hands to heart center. We'll do that again. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Nice, let's continue with the rest of our flow now. So inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Again, inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And this time we step back with the right leg. Bring the left hand to the inside of the left foot. You can walk that left foot out to the side a little bit so that the wrists are underneath the shoulders. And then we drop down onto the right knee. And sink as low as you can in this lizard pose. You can even move around from side to side a little bit, swaying the hips. Just finding movement and mobility in this area. And then once you find that nice sweet spot, you can stay here for a moment, either staying on the hands or dropping down onto the forearms. If there's any pressure on the knee or anything that's uncomfortable and it feels like you want to open up and move onto the outside of the left foot, you're welcome to do so. And come back onto the hands if you were on the forearms, and we'll move into our low lunge now. So scoot that foot back in and bring the hands onto the left thigh. Sink nice and low, nice and deep lunge here. You're going in for a deep hip flexor stretch now. This is where you might need a block, but I'll give you a modification if you don't have one handy. So let's first bring the left hand onto the left hip. Then we're going to inhale and reach the right arm up and over. You should already feel that right hand side engaging or stretching deeper. You can keep the hand on the hip, or maybe you can even reach the hand and the fingertips down to the floor. If you have a block or a book handy, you can also place it there. And keep reaching that right arm over to the left hand side. Inhale, come back to center. Bring the right hand down to the floor. We'll do a few dynamics here. Straightening out the left leg. Again, using props if you need it here. Then straighten out that left leg. Fold over, half splits. We'll do 3 dynamics, then bend through the left knee and low lunge. Straighten out, fold, and bend. Straighten and bend. And now we'll stay in our half split for about 3 breaths. So straightening out that leg. If there's a bend in the knee, again, perfectly fine. Adjust according to what your body can and wants to do today. And then wherever you are, just fold forward. Nice. Let's just quickly bend through the knee. Should feel good to release. And we'll go into a calf stretch now. So just slide that left foot back. I'm just going to slide that right knee forward as well so I don't move off my mat. And you want to bring that left foot back as far as you can with the sole of the foot still on the floor. Once you're there, we're going to shift our weight of the torso onto that left leg and push forward. If the heel lifts, it's fine. And then we feel that nice stretch in the tendon and the lower area of the calf. Just play around with it until you find the position where you feel it the most. We sit back down again and we'll go into a quad stretch from here. Bring the hands behind you, that left foot stays where it is. And we lift the hips up toward the ceiling. So you should feel the stretch in the right quad now. And release it down. We'll move into pyramid pose from here, again targeting the hamstrings. So just slide that left foot forward again. about a foot length away from the knee. Lift up again. If you want to use blocks or books, keep them next to your side. We're going to tuck the right toes under and straighten out both legs, coming into pyramid pose. Play around with that back foot wherever it's most comfortable for you to feel a nice stretch in that front hamstring. If the knee is bent, no problemo. Take an inhale, try and flatten out the back, drawing the lower abdomen toward the thigh and folding forward. Good. From here we'll go into a forward fold with the legs crossed or the feet crossed. So you can bend through the left knee and just step that right foot behind the left foot. Take an inhale, flatten out the back, and exhale, fold forward. And we're going to release out, so just bring that right foot back to neutral. Take an inhale, flatten out the back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. And we'll move straight to the other side. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. This time we step back with the left leg. So stepping it back and moving into lizard pose. So bring the right hand to the inside of the right foot. Scoot the right foot over so that you have space for the wrists to be aligned underneath the shoulders. When you're ready, drop down onto the left knee. And again, invite a bit of movement into the hips. Doesn't have to be big movements, doesn't have to be intense. Just waking up that area. And then we'll settle in the pose for a moment, either staying on the hands or dropping down onto the forearms. Again, a reminder, if you feel anything on the knee, you can just open up onto the outside of the foot. Keep focusing on sinking the hips lower down toward the floor. Let's come back onto the hands. Bring that foot back in, and we come into a low lunge. So bring the hands onto the right thigh, sinking nice and low. Nice stretch in the left hip flexor this time. We'll intensify it, so bringing the right hand to the right hip again. That's the first step. Then we reach the left arm up and over. Should already feel it activating more, stretching deeper. Stay here if that's enough for you. Otherwise, you can see if you can reach the right fingertips down to the floor. Stretching over. And we come back down, bringing the left hand down to the floor. We'll move into our 3 dynamics before settling into half splits again. Straighten out the right leg this time. Just moving into those muscles, and then we bend through the right knee again. Low lunge. Straighten the front leg. And back into low lunge. Straighten and lunge. And this time we'll settle in our half splits. So straightening out the right leg or bending through the knee, depending on your flexibility, as long as you feel that stretch in the right hamstring. And we bring awareness toward drawing the lower belly down to the thigh and release down as much as you can. Sweet release, walk the hands forward, bend through the knee, and we'll go into that calf stretch on the other side. So slide the right foot back, sit back onto the left heel, the right foot comes back as far as you can with the sole of the foot still on the floor, and then we lean forward onto that right thigh, and feel the stretch into the calf. If the heel lifts up, that's fine, as long as you feel the stretch. We'll transition into the quad stretch now. So just bring the hands behind you. And then we lift through the hips, and this time the stretch goes into the left quad. Gently release out and into pyramid pose. Walk that foot forward, about a foot length away from the knee. And let's tuck the left toes under, straighten out both legs, coming into pyramid pose, adjusting however you need to adjust to be comfortable and find some stillness in this pose. We'll just inhale to lengthen and then exhale, fold over the right leg. Nice, bend through the right knee, and again we step that left foot behind the right foot, crossing the legs. Maybe just inhale, flatten out the back as much as you can, and exhale, we fold forward. Nice. From here we'll transition straight to the floor. So maybe with the feet crossed like this, you can just sit down. Otherwise, just make your way down to the floor in whatever way is comfortable for you. Let's straighten out both legs. Just a quick Paschimottanasana, forward fold. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, fold forward. Again, if there's a bend in the knees, it's fine. Allow it to bend. You're going to feel the stretch in the hamstrings anyway. Wherever you land, on the legs or at the feet, take an inhale. Try and straighten out the back a little bit. Always having the awareness of bringing the lower abdomen toward the thighs. And then we fold forward. If you're feeling a lot of pressure in the lower back, it doesn't matter what your flexibility level is, then it's always good to keep a micro bend in the knee anyway. We inhale, reach up, exhale, release the hands. Okay, going into a really nice glute stretch now. Bend through the left knee and just bring the right foot toward the left glute. Okay, and then from here, we're going to bring the left foot onto the right knee. Good. So you're somewhere in this shape, and then we're going to fold forward. And you should feel a nice deep stretch on the left hand side. Fold forward as much as you need. Play around with it a little bit. If you need to adjust that foot a little, then go ahead. And the more you release down, the deeper you will feel that stretch. Slowly we release out, and we'll go into a variation of half Lord of the Fishes. Okay, so I'll just move so that you can see. And then you just release that left foot down to the outside of the right thigh. The right foot stays tucked in. Take an inhale, lengthen through the spine. And as you exhale, wrap the right arm around that left leg, left hand behind you, and we twist and look over the left shoulder. Should feel good on the spine, and maybe you're still getting a nice stretch in the left hand side. And we release out and move to the other side. So keep a bend in the right knee this time. Bring the left foot to the right glute. And then we stack the right foot on top of the left knee. And then we fold forward. Oh, I can definitely feel this side a lot more than the other side. So maybe for you, one side is also a bit different from the other. Just allow that upper body to fold forward until you feel a nice, intense stretch. Gently release, rise up. Bring the right foot to the outside of the left thigh. Wrap the arm around the right leg, right hand behind you. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist, looking over the right shoulder. If you've done a few of my videos, you'll know that I absolutely love this pose. Just gives such nice release with a twist and a stretch. And we release out. Almost there. Let's make our way onto our backs. And for our last poses, we'll do a figure 4. So keep a bend in the left knee. Bring the right foot to the left knee, and then you've got several options here. You can thread through, grabbing hold of the back of the thigh or even toward the shin, depending on your flexibility. And then we draw both legs toward the chest. And while we're here, we also focus on pressing that right knee away from us. It's not a big movement, but just to really get deeply into the hip. Can keep the feet active and flexed. And if you want to intensify this pose even more, you can drop onto the left elbow so that right hip will or right glute will lift off the ground, and then you'll really feel that stretch. If it's too intense, just go back to the first level. We release out, coming back to neutral, and we'll swap sides. So bring the right foot down to the mat, left foot to the knee, and we thread through, grabbing hold of either the thigh or the shin, drawing it in, awareness to that left knee to gently guide it away from us. And you can either stay here, or again, if you want to intensify, you drop down onto that right elbow. Makes quite a big difference. And gently we make our way back to neutral. Just untangle the legs, hug both knees into the chest, should feel good. Just to neutralize, maybe rock from side to side a little, massaging the lower back. And that's our class done. Can move into Shavasana if you want to take a bit of a meditation or a relaxation now, straightening out the legs, allowing them to be met with distance apart. Arms are next to your side, palms face up, and you close the eyes. So you can pause the video and maybe set a timer for yourself for 5 minutes just to relax and release down, enjoy how your body is feeling. Otherwise, if you're ready to come out, you can make your way back up to seated, crossing through the legs, and just close the eyes and bring hands to heart center. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be protected from inner and outer dangers. May you be healthy in body and mind, and may you be happy and find true peace. Namaste. Thank you so much, yogis, for joining me again today. I hope that those hips, glutes, hammies, calves, everything is feeling great now. We'll do a yin class for runners as well very soon. It sometimes helps if we spend a bit more time in each of the individual poses, so be sure to look out for that. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Namaste.